Thank you guys again for being here tonight. We have some awesome older people here with us. Not old, but older people here with us who will be joining us for Young Adult Night to share their wisdom and expertise. All of you are heavily involved in the local church and in ministry. So we are going to do a little bit of a popcorn style panel where we just bounce around, answer questions. You guys feel free to pick a fight with each other, start an argument, answer whatever you'd like. But my hope is that you guys are able to take this information, apply it to your lives, that this is truly deeply helpful to you guys. So get out the notepads, and we're going to kick off with a hard one. You guys ready for that?
Ready.
Okay.
Ready.
What's your name? What do you do? And if you had to eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be? It's a big deal.
Are we going down the line?
Yeah, we'll start with EY.
All right. My name is actually Kelly Reinl. I don't know if you guys know that, but many people call me EY. Because of the way I spell my name. I spell it Kelley, and Connor's mom spells it with just a Y, so we decided to give me a nickname, and I think Connor actually just found out my name was Kelly about 2 weeks ago.
I didn't know
it's
that.
Weird.
Yeah.
So I'll answer to Kelly or EY. I am the experience director here at Grace, and I've been here for 14 years.
Woo!
Yes.
Wow. Come on.
And the meal that I would eat for the rest of my life, I am very basic, and give me chicken nuggets and french fries.
All right.
All day long.
Okay. You got some love for that answer.
It's
all right,
safe.
Matt.
Change up the sauce from time to time.
Ooh, yeah, if that's an option. I don't know if it is.
My name is Matt. I get to be one of the pastors here at Grace. I do a little bit of everything, a little bit all over the place. And I've been here for a few years now and love it. And I am so happy to be here with you tonight. If I had to eat one food over and over again, this is tough. I'm torn because I'm a big chicken wings guy. But I swear I could eat a burrito bowl from Chipotle every single day.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
I can.
I don't know if I could do that.
I could not do
Every
that.
single day?
Every single day.
single day.
Amazing.
So bone-in wings, right? Because bone-out's just chicken
Bone out
nuggets.
of wings
chicken
is like
tenders.
chicken
That's just
nuggets.
what I
What are we
want.
doing?
Yeah,
Chicken
those are
nuggets.
chicken nuggets.
Chicken nuggets.
All right, Steven.
Yeah, I'm Stephen Ray. I work 2 different jobs. I work for a nonprofit called Emmaus Ministries, where my entire job is to study entire books of the Bible and then teach them to people who want to know the Bible. And then I also work as the director of spiritual formation for a church called Church of the Commons here in Orlando.
All right.
Oh, whoa.
Whoa. Hey.
Whoa.
Positive
Yeah, they
attitude.
love
No booing.
They're so
no
happy
booing.
you're
I
here.
know. I'm the only non-Grace person. I'll leave. Yeah. But I would say one food that I could eat every meal for the rest of my life is the mustard spaghettini from Prado in Winter Park.
Whoa.
He's fancy.
Super
Also,
delicious.
isn't it Prado?
Bougie
Isn't it
guy
Prado?
over here.
Huh?
The bougie Bible guy over here.
I know. It's so good.
Isn't it pronounced Prado?
I don't know how it's pronounced. I call
I think
it
it's
Prado.
Prado, right?
I walk in there and I go, is this Prado?
Prado?
Can I get that mustard spaghettini?
Wasn't Prado just shut down for like a rat infestation?
I know, yeah. Listen,
Yikes.
I
That's
heard
not
there
a
was
good
like
look.
6 or 7 of them. I don't know.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, no. So sorry,
That's what I
guys.
heard.
He just
So
revealed his
sorry.
age.
All right.
We'll do better at filtering.
Okay, let's take a moment. Let's get into something a little bit real here. Talking about your faith walk, your upbringing. You guys have each had well over 100 years to figure this out. So
Collectively.
each. So what was for you, and this doesn't have to be in any order, but what was for you a turning point in your faith journey that you often look back on? Something that really changed things for you that brings you maybe hope, comfort, or maybe it was just crazy and you'd like to share it.
Okay.
Go for it.
You inhaled first.
Yeah, so I did do that. So I grew up, my dad was a traveling preacher, not a pastor. He never pastored a church, but we grew up going summer camp to summer camp to summer camp. And, you know, I grew up hearing him preach the gospel. And then I got into college, and my freshman year of college was probably the darkest year of my life. By a long shot. Fell into just habitual sin, fell into just like abuse of different things, and just was walking, like knew that I wanted to walk with God, but was just falling in. I was isolated. I didn't have any friends. I would go to class, come back, be in my dorm alone, isolated, and I didn't want to end my life, but I didn't want to keep living. And so I went to Oakland University in Rochester, Michigan, and thank you. Yep, go Grizzlies. It was one night that my mom called me, and she was like, "Hey, there's a church launch meeting happening at OU. I really think you should go." And I said, "I'm not going. I got too much homework to do." And she was like, "I really think you should go." And so the time came, and I thought, do I want to live like this any longer? So I went and sat down at this church launch. I didn't realize it was a church launch. I thought it was a Bible study. And there were some people from a ministry called IHOP there. And I sat down, and the guy goes like, "We're going to actually do a prophecy game. We're going to prophesy to each other tonight." And I was like, I want to leave. Like, I'm so uncomfortable. But 3 random strangers that I'd never met before and have never seen since prophesied to me my past, my present, and then they prophesied my future. And I was just like smacked. But the last one was basically saying, wow, you're going to be a leader of people, and you're going to live a life in ministry, and you need to start walking into that life right now. It was just an amazing moment, and then I instantly got plugged in that church launch. It failed, but then I met my best friends in college, and that was kind of a major turning point for me.
That's fantastic. So were you not making a joke when you said IHOP?
I really mean IHOP.
Is that the International
House of Prayer?
Yeah.
That's
okay.
I'm dead serious. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. You learn something
Not
every day.
pancakes.
Not pancakes.
Yeah,
Prayer, not pancakes.
That's where I was asked.
I think for me, I've had quite a few like big moments. I think as you grow, you're going to continually have moments. There's never just one. I grew up in what I call morally good house. My parents weren't Christians, but they taught me to be a good person. But I started going to church when I was 5 with my neighbor. Just my friend in the neighborhood invited me to church, and her mom graciously picked me up every weekend and took me to church. And it changed the trajectory of my family's life. My mom's a Christian now. My dad's an elder at our church. That took many years. I was the spiritual leader of the house for a while, and just as a kid, not really knowing anything. But when I was in 8th grade, our worship pastor approached me and asked me to join the main stage worship team. And I was just like, why? I'm a kid. Like, what do I have any business doing up there? But it was the first time for me that I was like, oh, no, God can use me. God has a purpose for me, and other people see something in me. And so I want to explore that. And so that was a really big deal for me.
Yeah, I love that because, little backstory. So EY has poured into me you said 14 years. I've been here my whole life. So EY has just mentored me and, countless hours of her life spent pouring into me. And so I love to hear that that's a part of your testimony, that someone saw you and they picked you out of a crowd and said, hey, come do this worship thing, because that's in a major way what she did for me. And I am gung-ho on mentorship. I think that if it's one thing that I could encourage young adults to participate in is find someone who you could consider to be a mentor in your life. I know that Pastor Mike Price, who was just up here teaching, he launched a mentorship program at Grace. It's fantastic. But even, outside of that, there are opportunities all around you guys to really seek out mentorship. And I just think, one, it, fast tracks your faith, but it also can be super practical. I've got some really, really, really good friends who have mentors in all kinds of areas of life. Do you guys want to share maybe a mentor or two who poured into you, and how did that affect your faith walk?
You haven't talked yet, so it's your turn.
Oh, okay. I'll answer the first question. It goes right into the second one. So for me, I don't know if anybody else in here. Let me see your hands. Anybody in here grow up in the church? You don't know life outside of it? Yeah. See, and that's me too. And I remember when I was in my early teens, the turning point moment for me was making my parents' faith my own. And I don't know if you guys ever hit that too. And I remember going through the Bible and hearing some of these historical things, but I'm like, really? Jonah swallowed by a fish? Come on, God, right? And so I started wrestling with these questions, which the good thing was that I was at a church and I had a really killer youth pastor. and his name is Mitch. And Mitch has become a good friend. He's 10 years older than me, but he has also become a mentor. So we've served together for a long time. We've worked together for a long time. But he's a guy who, if I have questions about anything, I know that I can go to. He's also a dude who's called me out on my stuff multiple times, which is never fun in the moment, but it has always helped me become someone better.
Yeah, for me, I grew up going to these different summer camps, and so when I was in college age, I worked at a camp called Camp Lurcrest in Lake Lure, North Carolina, and the assistant director there, named David, became a lifelong mentor for me, so I was working under him, and I just saw his life was in the direction that I knew I wanted to go, but my life had been going that way. And so I was like, and I basically just went up to him boldly after one summer of work, and I was like, David, I want to have what you have. And so David's one of those. The director of the Bible school, Tom Phillips, is another mentor of mine. Caleb Eyes has been my coworker for years. He's, similarly pouring into my life. Cameron Underdown, he was the leader of our college ministry, and we tried to launch a church together. And basically for all of them, similarly, I allowed them to speak into my life. I saw the direction that they were going. We were already co-laborers together in the kingdom. And I just said, I want to replicate what they have in their lives. And I want to follow. And then I'm going to allow them to call me out even when I think they're wrong. Because chances are they're seeing things about me that I can't see for myself. I'm a big advocate for finding mentors and following after their example.
Yeah. And I would say, I obviously love the, structure of mentorship, and we have it here at Grace. And so if you don't even know where to start with finding a mentor, come talk to me afterwards, find Mike Price. We would love to get you plugged into that. But I think there's also a way of you can find mentors while you're serving, because you're serving alongside people that aren't necessarily all in the same age as you, but you have a common connection. So maybe you just care a lot about kids and students knowing Jesus. And so you're serving alongside people who are 30s and 40s. And you can get connected there, and they can start pouring into your life. Or maybe you just are super outgoing and you're on the greeting team, and so that's a common denominator that you have with people that you're serving alongside of. Because that was a big thing for me, because a lot of people that maybe it's not formally known as mentors, but my friendships are with a lot of people who are 8-10 years older than me, and they have changed my life in so many ways. So when I was 18 as an intern here, I was going to dinner at other staff members' houses who have just fully become my family. So Mike Price and his wife Amber, they welcome me into their homes all the time. I got to be one of the first people to hold their baby when they had Lincoln. And Mike and Kelly have always invited me in for multiple things or celebrating family events. Chad and Hillary, I don't know if you guys know them, but Chad's our creative pastor. And they have made a place for me to celebrate Easter and Christmas because my family is not here in Orlando. And so find those people. Don't be afraid because they're in a different stage of life than you. That's the best. No one your age really knows how to pay bills yet, so find people who do. Because they're going to help you. They're going to walk you through what it is like to fill out your taxes. Because it's great to have peers, but it's amazing to find people that are doing life where you want to go next.
Just one thought on that. I have the pleasure of teaching through the book of Proverbs for our School of Biblical Studies, and there's this major theme throughout the Proverbs. And Proverbs assumes that by nature, everyone is a fool. And that the only people who are wise from the book of Proverbs perspective are those who realize they are foolish, who need to grow in wisdom. And those who are foolish are those who think they are wise and yet don't know the way. And so that's just always my mode of thinking. I have to be at least a little bit wrong about something. And so even when I come and get to teach here at Grace, and I teach at our church, Church of the Commons, no boo this time, that's good. But every single time before I preach, I call David and I walk through my sermon with him. And because life is a collaborative art, it's not a solo sport.
And I'll just say this too. I think we have this self-fulfilling prophecy that we tell ourselves that finding a mentor is hard.
It's not.
But the reality is, I know that there are people who are a little bit older than you that if you would ask, they would love the opportunity. Because I can tell you, as the old man on stage, we would love to help other people grow. We would help to reveal blind spots. Just ask. And then again, here at Grace, fortunately, it's very easy. If you go to discovergrace.com/mentorship, you can get signed up and we'll pair you with someone that's a rock star who would love to do that for you as well.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And what I'm hearing over and over again is just like, make yourself available. I think that's really the big thing. And I think you guys are doing well. I mean, you're here in the church. And my dad started Grace in 2003.
Who's your dad? No, I'm
Pastor
just kidding.
Ryan.
Okay, I got you.
In 2003, a couple months before I was born. So this is all, church is all I've known. I've been super blessed by it, and it's meant a lot to me. But because of that, I've just got this like fire and passion for the local church. I want to ask you guys, why be plugged into the church? Obviously, I think it is a great way to make yourself available, to seek being discipled. Yeah. Why make yourself available in a church as opposed to maybe just a study group? Or why is the institution important to you?
So I grew up, we grew up in a small little town where there wasn't a robust local church. And so we would drive 40 minutes to a church that was in the middle of Metro Detroit. And then we attended there, which meant that we went like once a month. And so then my dad got really sick in 2007. He had a head injury, and then our family just kind of shut down. And we never attended a church again until I was in Bible college, reading the New Testament, going, wow, the church really matters. And the whole book of Hebrews, the main idea, in Hebrews chapter 10, it says, let us not continue in the practice of ignoring the body. You are saved. Your salvation is that you're saved into a covenant family. A lot of times we view our salvation as like, I am saved, and that is true, but we are saved as part of God's covenant community. And I mean, read the New Testament over and over again. You're part of the body. You're living stones being built together into a temple, a dwelling place for God. We say all the time, like, my body is a temple where the Holy Spirit dwells. And that is true. It's not false. But the more resounding truth of the New Testament is we are the place where God's presence dwells. And if you're just going to a Bible study or watching church online, then you're not going to the fiery presence of the Lord. That's lacking from your life. You were designed to live in and for community. Even God has existed forever as a Trinity. For all time, before the existence of the world, he existed as three persons in one. God himself existed in community. And so we were created to live in and through community. And if you're gonna be too cool for school and not go to church, then you're actually cutting yourself off from experiencing who God is.
I think that's great. I mean, come on, that's amazing. Stephen, I'm gonna keep going here a little bit. What do you felt like in your life changed when you went from going to church camp to church camp?
It was coming to grace.
Then it was coming to grace.
It was coming to grace. No, seriously, It was studying the New Testament and then coming to grace, because the church that I went to all throughout elementary school and high school, I didn't know anyone there, and I wasn't known by anyone there, right? I didn't know anyone there, and I wasn't known by anyone there. And then I moved to Florida to do Bible school, and I was studying the New Testament, and I just saw over and over again, be unified, be unified, be unified, be one, be one, be one. And I was like, you can't be unified with people who you're not going to church with. And so that's when I went, wow, I need to take this really seriously. And actually all of our Bible students, we travel from all over the country to Orlando to do Bible school. And our Bible teacher said, if you're not plugged into a local congregation in 3 weeks, you're going to get in trouble. They forced us. They said, you have to report and you have to go there every Sunday. And so then I found Grace. I went to 3 churches. I went to Grace, I went to a church that shall not be named, and then I went to another church, and I went Grace. And so I got connected into Grace Oviedo, and I plugged into community, and I never turned back. It was finding a home in a local body where I was needed or I was known and known by others, and I knew others. That changed everything for me.
Can I just add something to that?
Yeah.
I think there's this other misconception that we all have, is that the church is only like wanting stuff from you. But the church isn't about what we want from you, it's what we want for you. Yep. And I would say the other piece of that, and we talk about this at Next Steps Night. If you guys have never been to Next Steps Night here at Grace and learning about who we are and why we do what we do and how to take your next steps, you need to do it. But one of the things we say, and this sounds so harsh, but it's so true, is we don't need you to be here as much as you need to be here. Yep. And here's what I mean by that, is that when you are part of this community, you are in a place where you're finding community, where you're being known, but you're also being needed, and you're able to use your gifts and find fulfillment and find your purpose, and you're part of something way bigger than you. And we talk about the importance of remembering, and when you're here in these services and remembering all the things that's going on, like, you need to be here more than we need you to be here. We want you here, don't get me wrong, but being part of this body and being part of this family is critical.
I will add to that of it's doing something that's bigger than yourself. It's being a part of something that's bigger than yourself. If you grew up in the church, you grew up in a program of kids ministry that was designed specifically for you and has programming just for exactly where you're at. And then you go into youth group and it's repeated. It's designed just for that, and it's wonderful and it's amazing. It's what you need developmentally at that time. But now you are grown-ups. And it is time that you get to come and be a part of the church. It is not designed specifically for you and the age group that you're in. It is designed for the people who are a part of the body. And that is from 18 to 85 plus. Like, you are standing and sitting alongside them. You're worshiping alongside them. You're serving alongside them. It is not just for your age group anymore. It is for you to be a part of that. And that is somewhat a relief, because you don't have to have it all figured out, and you get to serve and be a part of something so much bigger, because that's what God calls us to do.
I think that's fantastic. I want to turn a corner here a little bit. You guys have wisdom and experience that I don't, and I'm curious to know the answer to this. If you could go and talk to yourself at 20, 25, what would you say? What are the missteps that you would try to avoid? What are the things that you would do? And that kind of leads me into my next question here, but I want to hear your answer to this.
I can go
Stephen's
first.
always ready.
Yeah. I think that if I were to go back and young 20-year-old Stephen is sitting in front of me, first I would say that you don't understand the gospel to the depths that you need to understand it. That 20-year-old Stephen believed the gospel, but in a very superficial level. Like, I remember I was sitting in my college dorm room, and I was like, God loves me. I know I'm saved by grace, but just in case, I'm gonna read my Bible as salvation insurance, so I have good things to point to God. And that just revealed, like, my heart was in many ways still in earn mode. It didn't recognize the depths of what Christ has done. And how Christ had died and resurrected for me. So first it was that, even though, and if you had dropped me on the stage and handed me a microphone and said, what's the gospel? I would proclaim the normal gospel, but I believed it here and not here. And so the first thing I would say is you gotta do a lot of work to get stuff from here down into your heart, because that's a difficult journey because your heart is hardened. So that would be the first thing I would say. And then the second thing I would say to 20 to 25-year-old Stephen is that you are not good at perceiving your bandwidth. If you I was so limited in what I would do and how I would participate in the church, and just things around me, because I was like, oh, that's going to be too much. And so I would say, like, younger Stephen, draw the line that you think is too much, and then step over it. Step over it in faith, because you will never be this free. Yeah. Like, right now, I'm married, I've got 2 jobs, and I've got 2 kids. I have no free time. Yeah. And I have time to give to the church. I have time to serve and pour out. And so I would say to my younger self, you need to actually do more than you think you're capable to do, because you will never have this much freedom and bandwidth ever again. And once from here on out, you're only going to get busier and busier and busier. So use this time to your advantage to do so much more for the kingdom than you think you can.
That's great.
That'd be my advice.
I'll tack on to that a little bit. I think my advice would be, you'll never regret the time you gave to the church.
Never.
So I started at 18. I did not expect to go into ministry. That was not my plan. Even though I went to Bible college, but I had another plan in mind. But I never regret. My life has been the church. And my free time goes to the church. And I think another piece of advice I would give to myself is don't compare your season to everyone else's. I think at your age, people are getting married, people are getting engaged, or people might be starting to have babies, and maybe that's not where you're at. I'm 33 and single, and it's not where I saw my life, but God has given me that because I get to give more to the church.
Yep.
And I get to be a part of all these things. I get to be a part of Connor's life. I get to be part of Connor's kids' life now. So many people that are in this room, I got to be a part of your life, and I don't regret that.
That's awesome.
That's great.
That's good. That's good. And because
let's clap for that.
And I think part of it, you said you won't regret what you give to the church, because you're not giving to the church, you're not giving to a building, you're giving to a family, and so you're investing in others. And I would say my thing that I would tell me 20 years ago, so 20-year-old Matt, so again, I'm the guy who grew up in the church, and so if you were to ask me my testimony, it would probably be super boring, because I never really, I'm a sinful man, but I never, some of these radical life-changing things, I was never that guy. And so many people were like, man, you are so lucky. But here's the dangerous side of that, is I never really felt like I needed Jesus. And so, and then I kind of get into, and Pastor Mike Price was talking about it earlier, how nice it would be if faith was a formula. And so then I started to become that guy. Well, if I pray and if I read and I do this, then God will love me. And so I think the thing I would remind myself, and this is truthfully, I'm 40, and this is something I've only started really getting into the last couple of years. And so I just think how radically my life would be different if I knew this in my 20s, and what a better leader I could be, and more confident leader I could have been in my 30s if I had just stopped trying to work for God and remember how much God already loves me. I don't need to earn his love. I already have it. And so what does it mean to walk in it? And so that would be, not to get all pastorly here and super churchy on you guys, but just remembering there is nothing that you can do that would make Jesus love you more. There is nothing that you could do that would make Jesus love you any less. And just walk in that. And so again, some of the principles, that's why praying is so important. It's being in his presence and being reminded of that, being part of the body and being part of the church is reminding us that there's nothing that we can do that hasn't already been done, and that because of that and what Jesus has done, we can just walk in his love, and how freeing that is and who we can be because of that.
Amen. I think that's fantastic. I want to get, this will be our last question here, and I really want to get nitty gritty practical with it. What are the things, as we're talking about, what you would have done or what you would have told your 20-year-old self, what are the things that you would have done, the habits and the practices that you would have put in place for your spiritual life, for the rest of your life? What are those things that come to mind that you're saying, oh man, if I had done that a little bit earlier?
I think that two thoughts. One is get organized. I am now, literally 2 weeks ago, I started a part-time job, and so I'm working 2 jobs with 2 kids and a wife, and balancing being cooperative in different ministries and different churches in the Orlando area, and I finally have gotten organized. I literally missed out on participating in the church, participating in men's trips and college nights and all those different things, because I would procrastinate on homework. I'd wait until the last minute. I would just watch Netflix or just kind of scroll Instagram and just be aloof. And this is really the truth, that discipleship is not just your spiritual life. Discipleship involves every corner and avenue of your character. And so I would just I know we're not all type A people. We're all not Enneagram 1s. That's okay. But I would just say getting organized and finding a schedule, wake up at 8 a.m. and go to sleep at 10. Don't do the 1 a.m. to whatever, like get organized and get orderly, because truly, and this is just we want to think that I can just show up to prayer, I can just show up to worship and God's gonna meet me. Actually, I've met God through ordering my schedule and my calendar more than through disorganization. And so that would be one thing. And the second thing is, I would just say that God just wants you. He just wants you. Like, he wants your heart, he wants your mind, he wants your life. Oh God, like what do I have to do in order, like what Matt was just talking about, what do I have to do in order to earn this? He just wants your heart. And so often I wouldn't come before the Lord because I would be terrified of, man, God's gonna blast me because of this bad thing that I've done, or I know that I've been walking in this way, so I don't wanna hear your voice, Lord. And it took me years to just realize that God just wanted my heart and he wanted what was best for me. And so just coming before the Lord and having practice. It doesn't have to be a quiet time. Your quiet time in the morning doesn't have to be banger theological study reading C.S. Lewis. It just has to be quietly sitting before the Lord in his presence. And realizing there's this idea of, sorry, I'm talking for way too long, but there's this idea of practicing the presence of the Lord. And this one theologian said this, every time that he did quiet time, he would just begin in 5 minutes of quietness, and he would just say this, I had left you, I am now here in your presence, I'm with you. And then his quiet time is just sitting in quiet stillness before the Lord. And that's what I would incorporate if I could go back in time. Incorporate an orderly schedule, and in that orderly schedule, quiet time where I'm just in the presence of the Lord with no agenda.
That's great. You guys have anything to add before we close?
I love the organized thing. I think that's great. And what I would say is find your rhythm. And find what works for you. Don't compare your spiritual life to someone else's, because maybe morning devotions don't work for you. Your schedule, where your brain's at in the morning, maybe it's late at night, or maybe just even those type of devotions isn't what works for you. It's not how you connect with God. But start now to try everything to find what it is so you can get organized.
Yeah, I like that, because some of us are the early bird and some of us are the night owl. And so which bird are you? That's important to know and kind of build your rhythm based off that. And like you said, my quiet time, I can't sit and just be quiet.
I gotta walk.
I'm the guy who's on a walk. But along those lines, the thing I would just, and Mike Price talked about it, so often I thought my prayer time was me talking, and I didn't make time to listen. And I think that has been one of the most impactful things for me, is just making sure I listen and making that space, which requires the calendar and the scheduling. You have to protect it and block it out, but making that time to listen.
I think that's fantastic. And the word that comes to mind as I'm sitting here is just like humility. That's what it is. I mean, it's finding time to listen. It's finding a mentor. Those things take a lot of humility. And, there are stereotypes about people our age that we can be a little prideful. And I think if we walk in humility, we'll see really, really, really great things happen with the people in this room. When we find mentorship, when we plug into the church, when we realize our desperate need for Jesus, I mean, that's everything. So let's give these guys a round of applause. They did a great job.